Welcome to another video from PixLogik. I am going to start where we left off in the last video. We had just completed our moving platforms here in the kind of carousel. Now I want to tidy up our props area here, so I'm going to create a new game object. I'm going to call it carousel. Now I'm going to copy all my moving platforms and drag and drop them in there. Close it up, and I'm going to drag that into props. Now I want to do the same for our ladders, so I'll create another empty game object and I will call this one ladders. And we'll drag them in there, close that up and drag that into our props. Okay, this just keeps everything neat and tidy and you know where to find stuff. As a level becomes more populated, it's very important to keep your work tidy. Okay, we're going to add our star onto our scene. Let's create another one. And one more. Now let's pop a couple of enemies in here. We'll take our character that patrols within bounds first, and what we will do is open up his bounds area. So let's take this one to 10. Okay, I actually want him to cover the full bottom platform, so I'm going to extend his left one to, nope, too far. Let's say 23. I'm going to go 22. Just move them slightly. There we go. Then we're going to move our follow path retro blob up. Now you'll notice he has path elements exactly like the moving platforms. So what I'd like to do with this character is have him move up to the ladders, up the ladders, and then along, and then back. Move this down here. Make sure the Z path stays at 0. Number 2 up to there. Change that Y to 0 so it's sitting in a straight line. And we will copy our X from here, drop it into here. Again, making that a straight line. Take this, make sure it's a 0. And we will add another one and drag it across. And make sure that's a 0. Okay. Now, his accelerate, I want my constant speed. So I'm going to change that to constant. We will press play. Okay. It seems to me what's happening here is his box collider is too big to get through this space here, so let's have a look. Now his box collider is a green box around him, so we're going to change that. Let's zoom in. I'm going to make it quite small. Let's try that. Okay, that works. Now I can see this character has got a character jump on it. We do not need that. So what I'm going to do is, Now if you see this yellow warning when you've changed a collider, just make sure that the offsets are both set to 0, because that can cause problems. And we'll just clear that, press play, and we're not getting the error anymore. Go into your prefabs, go into your enemies. Now we'll open up follow path retro blob, and what I'm going to do is delete that component, and if we go back we will see it's gone from here. So I'm going to press play just to make sure we've not broke anything. All seems good. Now if we go back to prefabs, you'll see that I put in our character prefab here. I'll just show you how to do that. If you just go into our retro adventure where we got him, and we've got prefabs there, and we've got the playable character, just take this, drag it up into your hierarchy here, open the prefabs folder for your own game, and drag it into there, and create an original prefab, because we're going to make changes to our character. So let's just open him up. Okay, we've got a lot in here that we're not going to need for this game. For instance, character crouch, we're not going to need that, so we can remove it. Dash, we can remove. Dive. Jetpack we won't be using. Lookup's not required. Grip. Wall clinging. Wall jump. Handle weapon. He's not going to have an inventory. And we're not going to need to swim. Now that seemed an awful lot to be taken off our character, but as this is our first game, it'd be nice to just keep it as basic as possible, just so we get used to what's happening in the engine, how to adapt it and use it for our own game. Now what we'll do is we're going to come out of the prefab, and now if you've got a character up here because you moved them over, remember to delete them. Make sure we've added this prefab to our level manager. You will see that the player prefabs there is missing. So if I press play on this at the moment, we're just going to get a grey screen. So what you want to do is drag your character up and drop him in there. Now that's all that error message was saying, that prefab was missing. So we can just go in and clear that. Press play now. And we have our character back. Let's just check on some timing here, see if we can get down and get a star. Nope. Ah, okay, we've got a problem here. Let's have a look, see what that is. What I'm going to do is go back in. I'm going to switch back on follows a player and see if that solves the issue. Just get him killed. Yeah, so when I said we did not need the follows a player on the camera, we actually do. So just tick that back on, and that will solve that issue of the grey screen. Now what I'm going to do here, I am actually going to delete some of this platform. I'm going to add another ladder, I'm going to drop it down here. I'm going to switch this back to global, make sure I get the snap to grid. So this time my player has to go down the ladder to get that star. Let's just have a look here. Let's see how we get on now. Nope. Let's get as close. There we go. Got the star and we jump. Okay. Now, when you're designing a level, there's going to be lots of times you're going to be adding elements in and you're going to have to test. There's going to be a lot of testing. You're going to have to move your character around the screen, checking your timings, checking you can actually get the stars. Because the last thing you want is to put the game out and then players just can't complete it. In the next video I'm going to be concentrating on art, as I have a concept for the game and the theme for the game. So we're going to end it there on this level, because this was just a very basic level to see if our elements would actually work and our concept would work. I'm quite happy with it, so hopefully you'll join me next week for another video from PixLogik. Goodbye.